Hey guys, we are pre-recorded. So today I'm back with my good friend Shane Rise and Grind Picker. How are you doing today, Shane?
Good, Jeff. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing well, bro. So today's title of our podcast is going to be expectations versus reality. So I've been thinking about this a lot today. And I think when people are getting started with just anything, man, whether you're getting started with getting a new job, you're starting your reselling business, maybe you meet this girl that you're really into and you think, man, you guys are going to get married and live happily ever after. You have a certain expectations in your mind of how you think things are going to go, and then the reality is like way down here somewhere. Up here, you think, man, this is going to be great. This is going to be a slam dunk. This is the way things are going to work out. And then the reality is somewhere down here in the middle. It's not always as easy as people make it look like it is. And especially when you're trying to be an entrepreneur and you're trying to be a sole proprietor and you're starting a business from scratch, it's not as easy as you think, right?
No, it's definitely not easy. I mean, you have a lot of moving parts and you got a lot of stuff you got to do. And there's just doesn't seem like a lot of the times there's just enough time in the day, to be honest.
Yeah. So I mean, sometimes, especially like with reselling, you guys will watch somebody's what's sold video, or they'll give you a printout and say, okay, here's my data for the month of August. Here's how much I did in sales. Here's my eBay fees and shipping costs, and down here's how much I made in profit. And then they make it look easy, but it's like you're just seeing the highlight reel. So it's like when you're watching Sports Center and you're watching the highlight reel of the game, you're not seeing all the work that goes behind the scenes. You're just seeing that quick 10-minute, 10-second of this guy scoring the touchdown and him doing the touchdown dance in the end zone. But you're not seeing all the hours of work that goes behind that. Like he has like a personal trainer that works out with him. He has a certain chef that cooks him food. He has like certain like food and protein shakes. He has a whole list of things that happens he has to do, 2 a day workouts and different things that you have to do. So, and I know you guys are saying, well, what is sports? How is that going to relate to my eBay business? So, do you want to talk a little bit about that, Shane? Explain to them, um, explain a little bit more about this to them, Shane.
Well, I think like here's the thing, and here's the big catch. Here's the big shtick. When you see something on YouTube, and this is why a lot of new resellers start reselling. You see a YouTube video. Listen, I'm going to be really honest with you. When you see retail arbitrage videos on YouTube, a lot of those are for clicks. You're not really going to learn. Like you might find a new item, you might learn a new item, you might pick up a little bit in the video, but most of the time, it is a lot of entertainment. People watch it for entertainment. People do the videos to get clicks. What I like to do in my retail arbitrage videos is I like to throw stuff like really like informational stuff in the middle so people can pick up on it. But you're not seeing all the work that goes into listing and photographing and maybe they went to thrift stores and they got a bunch of clothing. You're not seeing all that work. You're just seeing the snapshot of, hey, this is they made $1,000 buying clothing from a thrift store, but they didn't show you the video of what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I've made videos in the past where I would go to like 10 pawn shops in one day looking for items to resell on eBay. Now, out of the 10 pawn shops that I went to for that day, only maybe one of them actually where I was like, hey, I'm going to cash in and turn, $10 into $150, $200. All
Right.
the other ones, you would get there and you would find items, but not every place you go to is profitable. So it's like sometimes you walk in and you have this expectation like, man, the very first thrift store, the very first yard sale I go to, it's going to be a home run. And
Yep.
I think sometimes there's a lot of resellers that just quit and give up because in their
Yep.
mind, their expectations are up here. Like, man, this is so easy. Anybody can do this. Anybody should be
Mm-hmm.
making 100 grand a year. When in reality, I mean, I'm just speaking truth to you guys. 90% of small businesses make less than 100 grand a year. Okay.
Yep.
And probably 2/3 of businesses, they either lose money or they break even. That's 2/3 of the businesses. Okay.
Yep.
So when you see somebody, when you see another YouTuber or you see videos of this guy just hitting home run after home run after home run, they've had years and years of experience to do that. Just like, let's say, an NFL player and he just reaches out and catches this ball with one hand
Well,
and scores a touchdown.
and you're not seeing how many hours it took them to find that item. A video like there might be there's videos out there that's 10 minutes long that take people 2 days to film.
Yeah.
People don't see that. Like, oh, they filmed that in 2 days. It's 10 minutes. People don't see that.
Yeah, and so that's what I wanted to kind of touch on today, because I think that that's one of the biggest reasons that new resellers or just people in general just quit and give up, because they have these expectations like, hey, I saw Shane went out and he got, he got these bowling balls and he's going to make a couple $1,000. I should be able to do the same thing he does. In reality, there's competition out there. There's plenty of merchandise out there to be had, but you're going to have to work. You're going to have to hustle for it. And when you have these expectations in your mind of, hey, this is going to be great, and then the reality of it is, you don't start at the top. You start at the bottom. Everybody starts at zero. Whether you're shooting YouTube videos, everybody starts at 0 views, 0 subscribers. And whether you're doing something on eBay, everybody starts off with 0 items in their eBay store. Nobody starts off with 10,000 items on their eBay store. No one, like Shane, you didn't start off making $130,000 a year on eBay. Kind of talk a little bit about what your experience was like when you left your corporate job to trying to switch, because you didn't just instantly become a full-time reseller. So talk a little bit about what your experience was like.
The thing is I have worked a lot over the years to build the business up so I could go full-time. And I think a lot of people don't see that. As I also, like, I'm going to be honest, I make an income off YouTube. And so you have to put that into perspective. Like, a lot of people don't get that they see these YouTubers and they're like, oh man, they're, making a killing on eBay, but it might be reversed. They're making more on YouTube and less on eBay. For me, like my second year on YouTube, I made $20,000 on YouTube. That's what I made. And I barely done videos. But when I started out full time, I had that YouTube revenue to kind of back it up too. I'm making, $500 to $600 to $700 a month on YouTube without doing any videos in a month. So you have to understand, a lot of people don't see that income. And my reselling, like I have 3,300 items on eBay, but I made most of my money off Amazon, like probably about 80% off Amazon last year. This year is going to be flip-flop. I'm going to make like 80% of my money off eBay. And YouTube's like 10% and Amazon's like 10%. But that's why I'm getting a building, and you can't start there. Like, you got to understand, like when you're first starting out, you're not going to start in 2 years and get a building. Like it took me 9 years of hardcore reselling to be able to buy a building for my business.
Right.
That's a lot of years,
Right. And that's what I'm saying. And at any point during the whole process, you could have just said, oh, I'm tired of it. I'm going to go back to getting a regular 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
So you can't just quit during the process. And I don't want you guys to have false expectations. Even on YouTube, I think for the first 10 months, we didn't even get 1,000 subscribers. We weren't even monetized. For the first year almost, you're making $0. You're basically working for the passion of what it is that you enjoy talking about and what it is that you like doing. So don't have these high expectations of, well, I'm going to be a YouTuber and I'm going to get all these viewer sales, or I'm going to make all this money in ad revenue. It might not be the case. No. So I want to have multiple different streams of income, not just depend on one or two. So Shane, as you were growing your business, like there was a lot of times where maybe you and your wife got into an argument. She was probably like, hey, this is dumb. This is stupid. You need to get a regular job. What are you doing? Or maybe you made a bad buy and maybe you were doubting yourself because you bought this items and you thought, man, I'm going to make a killing. I'm going to make XYZ number of dollars profit on this particular sale or this buy that you got. And it didn't turn out that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, man, that's the thing is, it's crazy. Me and my wife are like, I think, let me phrase this right. I think when you go full-time reselling, you're definitely gonna have to talk to your significant other. My wife has more confidence in me than I have in myself. And that's the thing is, she's like, you can sell a snow cone to an Eskimo, and I'm good at sales. I'm good at selling stuff. I just sold something. Speak of the devil. Sorry about that. So she has more confidence than I do, and she knows I can sell my butt off. I worked in sales before. I worked in retail, and so she has a lot of confidence in me. But the thing is there were times, like there's a lot of times where I don't have confidence in the buy. And I think that's what Jeff was talking about. And I've bought stuff where I'm like, what am I doing? What if this doesn't pan out? And it usually panned out because I did the research before I purchased the item. That's key. Doing the research before you make any big purchases. Before I went full time, I had about a year of income. I had about 30 grand in my account when I went full time. I messed up. I bought a couple bad buys. I actually had to take out a $10,000 Amazon loan, took that out and flipped it back and doubled it, got my 30 grand back in 6 months. And then I was on the upside. But you're going to have upsides. You're going to have downsides. So
yeah, you're just going to have issues. You're going to have customer returns. You're going to have people saying item was not as described. I had 2 people today that sent me messages and said that they wanted to cancel their order. And I was just like, all right, no problem. So, sometimes, you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. And I think that sometimes it can be more difficult than what you thought it was going to be. I mean, there are some people that do really well, but like I'm telling you guys, the vast majority of the people, unless you're in the top 10 percentile in the world or top 10 percentile in the country, not like I said, 90% of small business owners, they're not making 100 grand a year. And, it's just not, it just, go ahead.
Right now with my sales, I'm in the top 40,000 on eBay in the United States. So,
but how long have you been working to get to that point? Did it happen overnight?
No, 9 years. Like 9 years. I mean, that's the thing. So, I mean, it's tough. But here's the other thing. I focused on Amazon. I just started focusing main focus on eBay like a year ago.
Yeah.
So I went from maybe 1 sale a week, maybe, I don't know, 10 sales a week on eBay. Now I'm averaging 15 sales a day. So I'm averaging 15 sales a day. Most of those are multiple items. So, I'm averaging at least 15 orders a day.
So Shane, let me ask you a question. What do you do when things don't go the way that you thought they would? You're having a bad week or a bad month in sales. Your kid's mad at you. Your wife's giving you crap. Things are not as you thought they were going to be for this month. What do you do? Do you take a couple days to just break? What do you do in your personal life to just be like, you know what? I just need to be alone by myself and just chill.
Usually that's not the time to chill. That's the time to work harder. When you're full time, if you had a bad month, then there's no other reason you shouldn't be working. You should be 100% trying to make the next month and double your sales that month so you can get the lost revenue back.
All right.
So if you're expecting if you sit down and you say, hey, I need to sell $10,000 a month with at least 50% margins or 30% margins to live, right? That's what your number has to be. If I sold half of that, I would try to sell 15,000 the next month. But I usually work harder. I mean, honestly, that's the thing, is list more. I try to at least list minimum 30 items a day, and I usually list 40 to 60 a day. Is about where I'm at. And I hammer out the listings. I can list about, I would say I could list at least 10 items an hour if I'm set up right. So I should at least I could list 3 hours. I could list 30 items.
Yeah. Well, guys, one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit is people get kind of burned out of listing. They get kind of just burnout. There's people that get burned out of shooting YouTube videos. They get burned out of listing items on eBay. And you just got to, I think that sometimes you just have to take a break. Just take a break from what you're doing. Get your mind off of what you're doing and go do something else. Go do laundry, go cook dinner, go for a walk, take your dog for a walk, do something to get your mind off of reselling and kind of refresh your brain, refresh your mind, and then come back and sit down and fool with it again. Sometimes you're just going to keep banging your head up against a brick wall. Because like I said earlier, your expectations is here, but the reality is you're here. Like I said, guys, when 2/3 of small business owners are either losing money or breaking even. They're going to make it sound like it's easy, and eBay can be easy because if you start doing it from your home, you don't have a ton of overhead, you don't have a ton of employees, you don't have a ton of expenses. It's just you working out of your house or out of your garage or your basement listing items on eBay. But at the same time, it's like you need to kind of find a little bit of a balance. What do you say, Shane, if somebody is experiencing reseller burnout? What would you say about that?
Man, that is like the last video, last week we talked about making a schedule. Exactly that. Make a schedule, stick to the 8 hours, work as hard as possible, and then take the rest of the evening off. Like that's what that's what I do. Like I'm 8 hours, I'm done. There's different days where I move it around to different hours, but I spend time with my family. I watch Netflix. I play Call of Duty. I do the stuff I want to do, but I also get all my work done plus some. And I usually work about 7 days a week, but there's days I work 4 hours and I'm done for the day. So I think you just got to really nail your schedule down. If you're burnt out and you're working all day long and all night long, then that's an issue. And that's telling me like, okay, if you can't list 30 items in that 16 hours, you need to pick the pace up.
Yeah, well, I think there's a difference between not knowing how to do something and not being motivated to do something. Like I could sit here and probably, especially when I'm listing media items, I can crank out probably 100 listings in an hour or two. It doesn't take that long to crank out the listings when you're just grabbing an item, you're scanning a barcode, you're taking a picture front and back. But it's just sometimes you just got to be focused. You got to be motivated on what it is that you want to do. You have to be kind of goal oriented and say, okay, I may not hit my goal today or tomorrow or this week or this month, but by the end of the year, I will get there. This is where I'm going to get. I'm going to reach my goal. This is where I'm trying to go. This is where I'm trying to get to. And I'm just saying that it's okay. Like I see a lot of people that are.
And here's the thing: like you can make a SMART goal. Like I'm going to list 10 items a day. List 10 items a day. Make a SMART goal to do that, or 5 items. At least if you're listing a few items, it's better than none. So, make a SMART goal. Well, I'm going to list 5 items a day. Most of the time, like if I sit down and I say I'm going to list 10 items, I end up listing more than 10, right? Because you're in the groove. You get in the groove and you're like, and you just keep nailing listings out. So list 5 a day, list 10 a day, make a SMART goal.
Yeah. There are some people, they also have drafts listed in their eBay draft bank, and they'll have some basically ready to go. So the next day, if they know they got stuff to do, they got errands or they got stuff going on, they already have like a draft saved on their eBay account, and then they can just launch them the next day. But yeah, I
think those get saved for 30 days. I think they're 30 days is what they save for.
Yeah, I just want you guys to remember that when you're having a rough time or you're having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, it's not over. Like tomorrow is going to be a new day. Right. Next week is going to be a new week. And just because your thoughts and your expectations of you thought, hey, man, I thought I would be here in 6 months and I'm way down here. It's okay. Like, sometimes we are our own hardest critics. We are our own, we judge ourselves too harshly when everybody else, your friends and family, are encouraging you, saying, hey, it's okay. You're going to do okay. It's going to be all right. Next week's going to be a new week. Yeah, you had issues, you were struggling, but you're going to make it happen. It may not happen in the timeline you thought it was going to happen. This is not like a storybook here. It's just like, it's the real world that you're going to run into issues. You're going to have setbacks. That's just called life. And so anybody that makes it look like it's easy or tell you that life is easy, it's not. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to have issues that you overcome. I'm not trying to make this podcast sad or have negative vibes. I'm trying to make it positive, but I'm just letting you guys know that if you're in an issue and you're having a situation and you think, hey, man, my reality is not meeting my expectations are here. My reality is here. Maybe just talk to somebody. Maybe take a day or two to just kind of reset your brain. It's going to happen. It's not happening as quickly as you want it to. Like Shane, took him 9 years to get where he's at right now. He didn't just wake up his 2 weeks in or 2 months into his reselling business and say, oh, I'm making $130,000 a year now. This wasn't possible.
Well, and a lot of it was here's the thing. A lot of it was I took time. I took a year to build up the YouTube side of things, and I didn't make anything. Like, it took me a year to hit 1,000. So it was actually a little over a year. And I was reselling. I was working a full-time job. So I was doing a little bit of Amazon, a little bit of eBay, a little bit of YouTube. And I just built the three up as I worked my job. And then I got more serious about Amazon and eBay, really built those sides up. And then I, had a really lucky video. I lucked out, went viral on a video. And so I have all three of those for income. And, the thing is, I mean, the most of what I want to say is, like, when people ask me, they're like, hey, I want to go full time. And I'm just like, don't, unless you have a year salary or you have money saved back, keep your job and work through it until you're actually ready to go full time.
Okay. Now, Shane, I want to kind of give people kind of points of action. So what would be maybe 2 or 3 points of action that we could give somebody to help them out? If they're in a situation and they're like, hey, if I called you up, Shane, and I said, hey, dude, I'm really rethinking this resale business. I've been going to yard sales. I've been going to thrift stores. I'm not finding stuff. Thrift stores are raising their prices. I'm not making sales. I don't know if this is for me. Like, what would you tell me? What would be 2 or 3 things you would tell me?
Here's the thing, and you got to identify what the easiest to obtain item is in your area. So look in your area, look for the easiest obtainable item. That's going to be, like, in my area, when I first started, it was clothing. So I really learned clothing, and I sell a lot of clothing on eBay, and I still sell and list a lot of clothing. I mean, I listed nothing but jeans today. So, look for the easiest obtainable item. Don't go full time until you're absolutely ready. That's probably a pretty good point. But you also have to work, build your account up. So when you're working if you're working a full-time job, if you're not full-time and you're working to go full-time reselling, it just changes. Like, it depends. Cause, like, for me, when I had my job, I loved my job. That was half of the reason I never went full-time, because I worked in retail, but I also worked in the loss prevention side of things. So I loved my job and I didn't want to leave it. And I just liked selling on eBay on the side. And then when I got sick of, I was in that field for 10 years. When I got sick of it, I'm like, it's time, and so I took the actions I sat down and I jotted down, well, what do I need to do to go full time? Add up your bills and find out how much you need to make every month.
Yeah, guys, I was going to tell you something real quick. This isn't reseller related, but it just came to my mind. Back in the day, I used to deliver pizza, and I was working for this company at Domino's, and there's probably, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 Domino's in the whole city of Louisville where I was working at the time. And do you guys know that out of, let's say, all the 20 Domino's franchises, guess how many of them were actually profitable, Shane? Just guess.
Probably 10%.
Yeah, 2 of them. So
yeah.
2 of them in the entire city. There was only 2 of them in the entire city that was actually profitable. All the other ones were either breaking even or they were losing money, because you're having to pay for your cost of goods, which in eBay terms, your cost of goods would be merchandise you're reselling. In the pizza world, it would be, the dough, the pizza sauce, the pizza toppings, the pizza boxes. You're having to pay for all. You're having to pay. Yeah, you're having to pay for all of your employees. So let's say the cashier, the guys answering the phone, the pizza delivery guys, the cook, the assistant manager, the manager shift, the general manager. You're having all these extra expenses that's coming out of it. Oh, and advertising, marketing. There's a lot of different things that go into that. So what I'm trying to let you guys know is that if you're getting into this and you're like, man, I don't know why I'm not hitting a home run every time I step up to the bat, is because a lot of these corporate stores, these brick and mortar companies, they aren't either. They're just not telling you. They're not, you're not getting their paperwork. They're not sending you paperwork in the mail every 6 months that, hey, our business is failing. Like, that doesn't happen. They don't market that on a commercial or advertisement. But yeah, so behind the scenes, I found out from the regional manager, there was only 2 in the whole entire city. Only 2 was either profitable. Everybody else was either losing money or they were breaking even. So you guys have an opportunity where you have 0 employees. You don't have a ton of overhead. You're not starting your business out with a ton of debt. And you can make some headway if you're just willing to put a little bit of hustle into your business. And like I said, I don't want to give you guys the false expectation that it's going to happen for you overnight, but it's going to happen as long as you don't give up. Like that's one of the main things I wanted to get across to you guys is that as long as you don't give up, it's going to happen because you don't have, comparing reselling versus a corporate brick and mortar, you don't have all these extra expenses. You don't have all this extra overhead. And like Shane just guessed, he's like maybe 10%. So that was pretty good guess. So out of the 20 something stores that were in the city, 2 of them were actually profitable. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Sometimes you see all these glitz and glamour and bright lights on television or on the radio, or you see other YouTubers that are successful. But in reality, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. There's a lot of times they step up to the bat and they're trying to hit a home run and they strike out. You just don't see it. You're not there. You don't see all of it.
Yeah, you don't see that part. And, the crazy part is like there's also like I've been in the reselling business for a long time. I mean, a long time. And I know sellers to sell on Amazon that literally buy millions of dollars of product. They sell tens of millions and they live off of their credit card points. I know sellers like that. And it's like they're living off credit card points because they're buying $2 million in products a year and they get $30,000 in cash back on their credit card points, and the 30 grand is their salary. Like there's just things that you don't always see. And that's why you got to do you in your own business. Like if you're reselling, you got to do yourself. You got to, watch some of these people on YouTube, but just kind of like when I was getting into this, I watched a few people on YouTube and then I kind of like learned different items to sell. And then I just made my own path for my business.
Yeah, I think it's important. You could take a little bit from each person and say, okay, I learned a little bit about blue jeans. Maybe I learned a little bit about video games. Maybe I learned a little bit about, clothing, and then just take little bits and pieces that you can learn from other people and kind of implement that in your business. And it's not going to happen overnight. We had somebody that was in the live chat with me the other day, and he said he had 11,000 items in his business right now active on eBay. But nobody starts out 11,000 items. No one starts out with 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You're just going to have to work your way up little by little by little, and don't get discouraged. Like I said, guys, if 2/3 of big corporate, big businesses, they have big lawyers, they have all the big signage, they have millions of dollars at stake, and if 2/3 of these people can't get it right and they're either losing money or breaking even, why should you think any different? I don't have a team of lawyers. I don't have thousands of people that work for me. I'm a one-man show, just like Shane. It's just him. It's him and his wife, and that's it. So, don't get discouraged if you're like, man, this didn't pan out as quickly as I thought.
It's not even my wife. She don't even help me with my business. It's literally just me.
I know, but I'm saying like what I'm saying is like you're a sole proprietor. It's just you and your wife. That's it. You don't have a whole army of employees. You don't have a bunch of lawyers and attorneys. You don't have you don't have a big corporate arm of people that represent you. It's just you.
It would be way easier though if you did.
Well, I mean, in some sense it would be. All right, so we've been running on for almost a half hour, Shane. What would be some like maybe a couple of tips or tricks or a couple of points, a couple of ideas that you would like to talk about before we wrap this one up?
So I would say, just set SMART goals. You sit down and you just need to write down how many items you want to list a day and then hit that. If it takes you an hour, great. If it takes you 5 hours, then great. I make my own schedule. I write a schedule, and I know what I have to do when I wake up, and it's about being consistent. Hit those goals. And, if you don't hit it one day, then maybe tack on a couple extra listings the next day. Realistically, it's just about being vigilant. And, if you just stick with it, you will go pretty far. Just keep doing what you are supposed to be doing. And excuse me. And if you find an item you like to sell, then double down on that item. If you like to sell it and like to list it, like clothing or hats or books, then list them,
Yeah, my big thing that I wanted to get across to you guys is just don't give up. Because, let's say hypothetically, all your friends and family enroll in college and they graduated in 4 years and got their bachelor's degree, and you didn't, you know. But when you finally get your college degree on the graduation thing, there's no expiration date. There was no date on your college degree that said it took you 6 years or 8 years to get a 4-year college degree. Just if that's what your goal is to be profitable as a reseller, just don't quit and give up. It may not happen as quickly or as fast as everybody else. Things may not be like a cookie cutter life for you, but just keep, like if you're a baseball player and your goal is to hit a home run, the more at bats you have, the more chances you're going to have of hitting a home run, right? But if you just sit at the dugout and say, I'm just going to sit here and drink my Gatorade and watch, you're not going to hit any home runs because you're not going to have any more at-bats at the plate. So that's what I wanted to get across to you guys is that sometimes just in life in general, a lot of times our expectations are way up here of what we think is going to happen. And in reality, everybody starts down here at the bottom. So just don't give up and just stay focused on where it is that you want to go and keep making a little bit of progress every week toward your goal. So that's what I wanted to say. And so I think that about wraps it up for today. Shane, do you have any final words? And then we'll let you go.
No, just, figure out what's best for you. And that's kind of what you got to do. That's, I think if you want to go full time, that's what every full-time reseller does is they just figure out what's best for their business and how they truly want to run it. You just got to figure it out for yourself.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be the end of part 5. And then if you want to go catch the next part 6, it's going to be on Shane's channel. So I'll have a link to his channel down below in the description. So go follow and subscribe to Shane Rise and Grind Picker so you can catch both of our episodes every week. Till then, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.
See ya.